Hey everybody, welcome to Strength Coach TV, the show where we take you inside some of the country's best fitness facilities, give you a tour, sit down, talk some shop with the owners, and sometimes their dogs, as you're about to see. So we're heading up to Boston to AMP Fitness in Boston, right in downtown. This is my second AMP, or we have three altogether. I really like what they're doing here because if you know anything about Mark Fisher Fitness in New York City, it's a really unique operation and they're killing it. And I kind of felt like, how can anybody really replicate what they're doing because they're in the theater district, et cetera, et cetera. They have such a unique culture there. And I think these guys, Steve and Lindsay Bergeron, are doing a great job of really taking some of those concepts and putting it in their own take on it and doing some great things up right in downtown Boston. So let's head up to Boston to AMP Fitness. Hey guys, welcome to Strength Coach TV. I'm Anthony Renna. I am in downtown Boston at AMP Fitness. I'm here with Steve Bergeron, the owner, head founder. Well, boss is over there, but Lindsay's over there. So
she is the true owner of AMP Fitness.
Steve, how long you guys been here?
We opened about 2.5 years ago. We started in temporary space and we moved in here in October of 2015.
When you say temporary space, what does that mean? Temporary next door, or one of the landlord's other spaces? What does that mean?
We were actually in a space up in this building on the 9th floor, so we had about 800 square feet and a couple of kettlebells and bands while they did our build out.
Wow. What's the square footage here?
Total, so we have about 5,000 rentable square feet, which is about 4,700 usable square feet.
47. Now we're going to be on 2 floors. So, what is the upstairs? Do you know the breakdown?
So upstairs, AMP Studio, we have just under 3,000 square feet, and downstairs we have just under 2,000 square feet.
Cool.
Total.
How many? It's you and Lindsay, but how many other staff do you have on board?
So right now it's Lindsay and myself, and we're both still doing a lot of the coaching. And we also have 2 full-time coaches, and we're going to be bringing on a 5th this spring.
Nice. Talk to me about the members. I know I was telling you before, there was an Equinox that was near Grand Central, and they weren't even open on the weekends because nobody lived in that area. Where are your members coming from? And just tell me a little bit about who what the member profile is.
Yeah, being in the city, we have a very transient member profile. So most of our clients are either coming into Boston to go to work, or they work in town and head home late in the evening. So we have clients that start as early as 6 in the morning and train later at night. The afternoons are a little more quiet since everybody's at work. We have a very small percentage of people that actually live in Boston, but there's definitely not as many residents as New York in the cities.
Does it tend to be a longer day for you guys? For example, is it like early? Is it 5 o'clock? Is it what? And then it probably has to go a little bit later because people are coming in after work.
We've had requests for 5. We haven't followed that request yet, but we start at 6.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Once you do it, you can't turn back.
Yeah.
But we have clients that come and train as late as 7 p.m. and we close usually around like 8:30 most nights.
What is now? Is this? Tell me about the membership types. Is it one-on-one, group, semi-private? What are the membership types you have here?
So we do all semi-private and team training. Semi-private is our version of one-on-one training, so 3 clients per coach, and we'll have up to 2 to 3 coaches on the floor.
Yep.
And it's a controlled chaos type situation. So all the coaches are working with all the clients, so we can have up to 9 clients in the hour. And then down on the lower floor, we do team training, which is 8 clients per session. That's more of your traditional group fitness class. But we set it up so we do a 4-week program. We're still able to walk around and coach. So it's a little more personalized.
Okay, awesome. So let's get the tour now. We're going to go up and down and ask you some questions. Then we'll sit down and we will ask you some business questions, all right?
Awesome, man. Let's show you around. So this is our entrance to our training studio on the 1st floor. So once clients walk in, you'll see an office that we have over here to the right, which when we opened has totally served its purpose, but we're actually planning to start construction and tearing down this office space and actually blocking off the door here and creating a door and an entryway so there's a clear path past the front desk when clients walk in. We found that when a new client or prospect walks in the door, they have no clue where to go, and they look around, and it's very intimidating to see all this fitness stuff going on. So we want to get rid of that wall and also create a space so we can kind of showcase some of our supplements and t-shirts and swag to help with like selling some product.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and real quick, because we are in a city, what does that entail? Is that a pretty big process to move this door, etc.? Is it taking a while? How long has that taken for you guys, being in a city?
We just found, actually one of our clients does general contracting, and we are going to have to pull permits, but we haven't started that process yet. When we first opened up, it was a long process with the fire department to lay down the floors, pull permits, and do all that stuff. There's a lot of red tape being in the city.
Super fun.
Super fun.
All right, where do they go next?
So usually once clients walk in, we don't have a specified check-in area. That's another reason why we want to tear down that office wall so people don't have to go into and leave the office to check in. After that, we have locker rooms towards the back. So they got to actually walk past the studio to get towards our locker room and shower areas that are back here.
At once in here, just like from a logistics standpoint, like when people are walking in and out through workouts, how many people are working out at a time per hour?
So up on this floor, we'll have up to about 8 clients usually at a time, and sometimes during the busier hours, there's a little bit of like crisscross of the sessions. So we'll have anywhere between like 8 and 12 clients that are like coming and going at one time, just for the semi-private area.
Okay, nothing crazy. That's fine.
Not too bad.
You got your locker rooms here. Showers. You do have showers. Talk to us about that decision to have showers, because we were talking to Krista Doran, and she was talking about consciously not having showers, which for me, I did the same thing. You do have showers here. Why did you feel like you needed them?
We do. So one of the decisions I made before we opened was just being in the city and working with our clientele, who tend to be attorneys, tech and finance workers that work downtown Boston and Government Center. They're going to either be working out and then going straight to work, coming in the afternoon. So we wanted to make sure we had at least one shower. Part of the deal that we negotiated with the landlord at the time was to be able to have an architect come in and design a lot of this, and they designed a couple of shower spaces. The bathrooms were here, so they just had to add a couple of walls and build out the showers.
Cool, nice. All right, where are we starting this whole program?
So if we're doing semi-private training, once our clients are ready, they'll come out and grab their programs over here on the other side of the studio. So we have some sessions going on this afternoon. Afternoons are a little more mellow than the morning and evening sessions. So this is actually
box of programs. Hi.
boss number 2, boss lady. So semi-private clients all have their own folder in a box. So what they'll do is they'll come grab their program out of the box, put it on a clipboard, and after they've trained with us for a little while, they kind of get the flow, and they're just going to start working out while the coaches are kind of controlling the chaos in the studio. So they'll warm up roughly in the same area. We're always trying to kind of move people off the turf. Usually at the end of one session, we'll have people pushing a sled and then people coming onto the turf to start rolling, so we kind of move that back a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost at the end over here.
But they'll grab their clipboard. All the clipboards are a different color, so we've color coded them since all the programs from a distance look the same. So that worked out really well for us. They'll train, they'll go through their program, and when they're just about done, we have a filing system where they just put it in one of the coach's boxes to let us know that it's time for a new program.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's take us through on our way downstairs, but let's look at so basically all the semi-private is up here.
All the semi-private is done upstairs. We actually have some brick wall downstairs, so we use some rotational med ball work that works well on a brick wall, not so well on the drywall, which we found out. So this is what we call the Bat Cave.
Nice, there we go.
We give it a little superhero flair in the studio. So we have some of our studio philosophies and quotes on the walls all over the place.
Nice.
To give people a little bit of extra motivation when they come in to train. And so we have one of our comment boxes over here. We have a couple in the locker rooms and one in the office, so we can get a lot of candid feedback from clients.
Cool. What's going on here with this wall? I love it.
We wanted to paint the wall, but we couldn't figure out what to do, so we just gave a client a marker one day and they started writing quotes, so we just let them do their thing.
So as people come down here and you got to worry about some graffiti though, man. some X-rated stuff going on.
We have complete faith that they'll make good choices on the wall. We have a pretty cool community, so people are a little more open. So whatever they choose to write is awesome. We're going to be changing up this wall here. Right now, this is just our group training schedule. But we've found that what we want to start putting on the walls are things to give people more information about what it is that we do. So we kind of want to go through the flow of a training session, how to get better results,
yep.
So they can understand a little bit more. Oh, here's Koa. Here's our gym mascot.
Hi, baby.
So I mentioned that we're going to be tearing down the office upstairs. We're slowly moving into this space, which was originally going to be a space for our physical therapist, Mike, but he found that doing the PT upstairs, like in that space, since he can kind of transition right from the floor to PT, is a better option since he gets them on the floor and moving around
also,
a bit.
coming downstairs, if you have any knee problems or ankles or hips, right? I mean, getting down here is going to be a problem too. So
right. So we're gonna fully IKEA this room and make it our working office space. And it also helps. So having the office upstairs, if I'm working in the middle of the day when training sessions are going on, I get nothing done. So
I hear you.
I'll lock myself in the cave.
I saw Michael Gerber speak. He wrote the E-Myth. He said the best thing you can do is have an office 6 blocks from your business.
Oh my God, yes, so, absolutely.
So this is the wall you're talking about?
This is the brick wall. It's not ideal since there's some pipes, but we're able to get clients over here and doing some rotational work on the wall, which really helps.
Yep.
A lot of private studios don't have the luxury of having a little bit of brick, especially in the city.
Yep.
When we first opened, we actually had a client. I told him to come down here and use the wall. Once we opened up the full bat cave, and he used the drywall, which was a bad idea. So we had a big hole in the drywall. We fixed it by just putting a big mirror over it.
Oh, there you go. Nice, love it.
Let me turn the light on. So this is our team training space. We do 8 clients per session, and what we do is we create a 4-week program that will start week 1 with a brand new program and a little bit slower. So it's sort of our deload week, and then it'll slowly intensify over 4 weeks, which is mostly just linear progression to give them a good training effect.
Oh, sorry.
Mostly kettlebell training, body weight, and anything in between to give people a good training effect and allow them to experience like a small group training at a lower cost. So
cool.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, so there's a different, I didn't ask you that before, did I? Like about the membership levels, like somebody can just have a group membership in here?
Yes, so we do either semi-private training memberships or team training memberships, or they can combine a little of each.
Okay, cool.
So those are our 2 like main core offerings. Then we also do a little bit of nutrition coaching, and we also have the physical therapy practice as well that goes on here at AMP.
Awesome. All right. What do we got in there?
So the last room.
A lot of doors here, Steve.
I know, we definitely bit off quite a bit of space. Is not what I'd recommend most people starting with, but we were able to negotiate a really good deal as we went along, and I'll explain more about that. So this is what we call the library. We have a lot of our training books back here. We're eventually going to be turning this into a space where we have some couches that are going to be coming in soon. We do our onboarding, so we have a 2-series onboarding session we call Superhero University, where we basically just give clients, we set the expectations that they should be getting ready for as they come on board to train with us, which is why we're doing what we're doing, some of our cueing language, and also how to kind of get the most out of not only their training, but their membership as well. So we do that in here. We set up a projector on the wall, and we sit them down. We'll do about a 15-minute PowerPoint, and then we go in and we go over like kettlebell anatomy and basics.
Were you tempted to kind of, I mean, if I can do it like this, and we're going to see like a really decent sized room here, were you guys tempted to kind of knock this wall down and make a big room down here?
So we're still debating whether it's a good question. We may at some point knock the wall down when classes hit that tipping point. We may be able to add 2 or 3 more people per session and use this weird like staging area as where we like stand and like coach.
Yeah.
There's like 2 concrete slabs underneath that are, they're just part of the building, so we don't really know what to do with them.
Yeah.
But we also have more changing rooms down here. Those used to be bathrooms, but we're just going to turn them into changing rooms. So that way we'll have people doing semi-private upstairs in the locker rooms. If people don't need to shower, they can just come down here to have a quick change room.
It's a tough decision because too many places, I worked in big box gyms that didn't have a room that was smaller than your office, half the size of your office, where 10 trainers were supposed to go and relax, and it's not being able to have that downtime or that space away from the clients sometimes can be not cool. So
yeah,
it's a tough decision to make.
So this room is mostly empty all the time, so you'll see our giant Yogi Bo beanbag chair. We'll come down here and turn the lights off and nap, and it's pitch black and amazing. So we'll sneak down here to kind of get away and hide.
Yogi Bo doesn't know the impact they've had on the fitness industry. They really need to market to it. Well, let's go have a seat, and we're going to talk some business, all right?
Let's go. Awesome.
All right, cool. So let's talk some business. What would you say was the biggest challenge? I mean, right away, even driving here, when I was thinking of this, I'm like, oh my God, downtown Boston, which has its so many pluses, but then a city place, so expensive. There's always like a lot of red tape. I get away with a lot of stuff in my facility just from, my guys do their thing, without permits. You can't really do that in a facility like this. What were some of the challenges you guys faced opening?
So
I know I'm
come
gonna
hang out with
just chime in from the corner.
The biggest challenge for us was actually, believe it or not, the floor.
Please move over a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think
we have her over here. The biggest challenge opening was definitely getting the flooring passed by the fire department.
Oh, okay.
So the issue that we had once we signed the lease in January, we got everything okayed, but the flooring needed to be passed. So it took them about 3 months to pull permits.
Oh my God.
3 months to pull permits to do the building, and then they got the building started, I want to say in April. We were supposed to be open by the end of May, but the challenge was the flooring didn't pass what they call a pill test. And the reason it was an issue was because our studio was lumped into a category of hospitals and service places, and we needed a clear path of egress without any hallways. So the entryway over here, which is about like maybe 5 square feet, they categorized that as a hallway. So we weren't able to use the flooring that we already had installed. That was both the rubber flooring and the turf.
Oh, wow.
So we had to go through the whole rigmarole of getting that inspected and sent out by the fire department. And after all was said and done, we had another inspection later this was all the way in August. And they finally passed it, and they said that, oh, this is just a fitness place. So they let us open. So we got open the end of October.
In the city, I knew there's all these challenges. What was kind of a surprise for you guys that you thought, I would have never thought that, like when you guys were opening? I know the inspection stuff probably was, but was there anything else you guys were like, are you kidding me right now?
I was really surprised. I'm from Vermont, where like if you wanted to rent a studio.
Here. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, you have the speaker?
I have the microphone.
If you wanted to rent a studio, you talked to one person, you shook hands, signed one piece of paper, and that was that.
Yeah.
He brought home a 67-page lease, and I didn't even know what to do with it. But if you wanted to ask a question about, are they going to paint the walls in the build out, I would ask Steve. Steve would ask the building manager. It would go up the chain of command and then back down the chain of command for 2 weeks to ask the simplest question. My head cut off.
You're good. No.
And
Keep
so
going.
like even tiny things that you thought would be a simple yes or no answer would take weeks. And so that was kind of an annoying process, but other than that, he dealt with most of it.
Now, were you training right from the start too? Were you both doing this, or was this you coming in afterwards? How was it?
I pretty much opened the studio on my own. I didn't have any coaches when we first started, so once I signed the lease, it was just me. Lindsay was still teaching preschool at that time.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't until later when I realized that I was going to have to hire several coaches that I was like, hey, you should come on and join me at the studio. After working 14-hour days, 7 days a week.
Yeah. Now, how's that been? We've seen it from the Cosgroves. They've done a great job. Lauren and Jason Pack, who we're going to see in a little while. I was just talking to Chris Duran. She was saying this, like with her husband, they opened together. How is that? Like, what's the challenge with that? How do you guys kind of help keep the relationship, some of this stuff out of the relationship?
I don't want to answer this wrong, so I'm going to let you answer that.
That's number one. That was the first lesson right there.
He's good. We actually met with Jason and Lauren beforehand when I was contemplating coming onto the business, and I just wanted to hear what their thoughts were. I knew every couple's going to be different, and it wasn't going to be black and white, but they gave us one piece of advice that I still adhere to this day, and they told us, when talking about the business, if you're outside of AMP, try and keep it in the most positive light. If there are issues to deal with them at work, and keep that mentality at work, and keep the positives at home, or at least separate them and not talk about work at home if it becomes an issue. And you definitely catch yourself talking about stuff, and we're like, okay, we're going to keep it in a positive light at home if there are issues that arise. But that was one piece of advice that really stuck with me, and communication is the number one. With this relationship in a marriage, you can talk a little bit more openly, you show a little bit more of yourself than you would with a regular employee relationship. And so you definitely catch yourself being a little bit more either emotional about stuff, or saying things that you wouldn't normally say or feel comfortable saying in a professional setting. And you just have to keep that in mind that, okay, I am going to be more emotional here than I would in a normal professional setting, and that's okay. We've talked a lot with our staff about it, and how, you're going to see an emotional side of us that you wouldn't normally see with two owners of a business if they weren't married, and that's okay. There's going to be disagreements, and it's all right, and we want you to be part of it. Don't feel like it's a relationship disagreement and you can't partake. Let's talk about all the rough stuff, and that's okay.
A lot of people talk with a great partnership to kind of separate some roles. So I know, we're going to be seeing Eric Cressy and Pete Dupuis soon, and Coach Boyle and Bob Hansen. And people talk about having different roles within the company. Have you guys started to do any of that? Because now you're getting bigger, there's room for that, maybe, instead of having you both as trainers or just saying Steve's the boss of this and you're the boss of that. Have you separated anything like that?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. So outside of the marriage relationship, the business relationship, we already complement each other very well. I'm very much a systems guy, and I can do a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, doing all the finances for the business and the programming and the systems. And Lindsay does really well with the client relations and empathy part. So she's running a lot of our team training stuff with our clients, and doing a lot of our the specialized programming and programs that we're running. So we're doing a Best Life Challenge right now, and she just completed that. So rather than doing our big January fat loss program, we did one where we focused on habits and behavior change, and she ran the whole program, and clients loved it, and that's what she's really strong at. So creating some of those type of programs, while I do a lot of I just lock myself in my cave and just plug away on the website and do all that behind the scenes stuff. So.
Yeah. Let's finish up with just not really a mistake, but some things you guys might have done differently. Like there's no way to. Well, there is, maybe with a little bit of extra due diligence. I don't know about that, but you can never tell with inspectors. But what were some things that you would do maybe over or change or try to, with some advice to some of the people out there trying to open a facility?
We were really lucky where we didn't have a lot of opening mistakes per se. Everything is a surprise. It's my first business. I went from personal training in a commercial gym to just jumping right in feet first to open my own business. And we hired Fitness Revolution, which is an organization that is set in place to help trainers like me kind of go make the leap from training to being a business owner. So I was able to kind of mitigate a lot of like the mistakes by deferring to their expertise, and also just having a great network in place. People like Eric Cressy were a huge help to me. As we were getting open, we visited places like Mark Fisher Fitness, and we talked to Jason and Lauren over at Achieve. All the coaches at MBSC have been a great inspiration and help, and anytime I have a question, I feel comfortable and confident enough reaching out to someone via email and just asking for a little bit of help. So just kind of understanding that there were going to be things and hurdles, I was able to kind of bypass that by asking what could possibly go wrong. And we actually watched a lot of the Strength Coach TV videos like early on in opening, so we were able to kind of see like what people were doing with their studios in the early months.
Yeah, and that's why we did this. I did it originally was because of really Coach Boyle was always like, go to visit facilities, but you're lucky because you have in this area there's so many such a great density of so many amazing places. Not everybody has that, and so that's what Strength Coach TV was, to bring people like you who've been through it, made some mistakes, were able to grow, and now look at you guys. You guys are expanding because it's not an easy thing to do in a market like downtown Boston,
right?
With 5,000 square feet. It's a pretty good test. So you guys, nice job.
Thank you. We're absolutely happy to be able to pay it forward by kind of guiding people towards like what it took for us to get open, since all those studios in the area were more than willing to help us. It's a great community we have. We don't kind of view each other as competition in the Boston area, since there's such a high dense population.
Pretty cool. All right, well guys, thanks for doing this. This has been it's been awesome.
It was a pleasure, my friend. In honor.
All right, great stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for doing this.